Hi, I'm Dana Opelman. Welcome to this week's video chat. Today our question comes from Marnie, and she writes, my 1-year-old is waking up at 4 a.m. and won't go back to sleep even after I nurse him. He then struggles to make it to his first nap of the day. He goes to bed at 7:30 and has 2 solid naps during the day. How can I fix this? Well, first of all, Marnie, you are not alone in this. This is the #1 question that I get from parents every day. Their baby's waking up too early. So I've got 3 tips around that for you, Marnie. The first would be to have a look at darkness. That's always the first place I look, especially as the summer months are upon us. We really need to keep light out. And people often think that they've got it dark enough, but it can always be darker, because even the slightest change in light variation can stimulate a wake up in anybody. But as an adult, you can look at the clock and notice that it's not time to get up yet. A baby can't do that. So I want it dark in there. I want it to be as dark as it would be if you walked in the very middle of the night. Okay, so that's tip #1. Tip #2, or actually it's a concern #2, let's call it, Marnie, is the fact that you're nursing him at 4 a.m. Given his age, there should be absolutely no reason why your child would need a night feed. And my worry with this is that 4 a.m. might actually get earlier and earlier and earlier instead of buying you more time. Because to the baby, there's no difference between a 2 o'clock feed and a 4 o'clock feed. So I want you to consider pulling that. There's absolutely no reason why he would need it, and you might actually be stimulating him and waking him up. So after his nurse, he goes back to the crib and thinks, what are we doing here? I feel ready to go. Let's start the day. And that's why you're having the struggles that you are, okay? Tip #3 is the morning nap. You've mentioned in your question that he's having a really hard time making it till his first nap of the day. I find that what can happen is if a baby wakes up too early in the morning, gets up, starts his day, he's going to be fatigued fairly quickly. And so it's tempting to start putting him down earlier and earlier and earlier for that morning nap. You don't want to do that. If you do that, you will get stuck in this vicious cycle of him waking up too early, going down for a nap at 7 a.m., and throwing off your whole day. So that'll just absolutely mess up with his body clock. You'll have to have a 3rd nap, which will be completely foreign to him, and it'll just cause a whole bunch of problems. So even though it's really tough, and I totally understand that, you've got to hang on to his normal nap time. So if it's 9:30 a.m., even if he's been up since 4:30, you've got to hang in there till 9:30. My advice would be to give him a bit of fresh air around 8 o'clock. Make sure that you give him enough snacks and food to keep his energy levels up, to really encourage him to hang in there. It's similar to if you got up at 4 a.m. and wandered around and maybe had a snack and then eventually went back to bed and finished your night. That's what's happening here most likely. So hang in there till the first nap of the day. I always suggest that people do not change bedtime. That is super tempting when you've got an early riser. You think, oh, if we just keep him up late, he'll sleep later in the morning. That hardly ever works. In fact, all you end up doing then is creating a huge amount of overtiredness in your child, which leads to more fragmented sleep and even earlier morning wake-ups. So whatever you do, don't do that. We love to hear your questions and comments. If you had an early riser and you managed to conquer that problem, we'd love to hear your suggestions. If you've got a question about your own child's sleep, please feel free to chat it in our blog, and hopefully I'll answer your question really soon. Thanks for watching. Sleep well. If you are looking for even more advice on your baby's sleep, head over to sleepsense.net to answer 5 easy questions and get a free sleep evaluation for your child.